Hi everyone, we are going to get ready to do the Scrappy with the scrap tape zipper pouch. And what I do is I just cut as long as I want this, but really for our project that we're doing today, I cut this, it's 2.5 inch strips, and I cut this into 9 or 10 inches. If you want to cut more, that's fine. And what I do, this is the piece we're going to end up with. Something similar to this. This is just odds and ends that Sheila had of a project that she worked on. And I took 3 strips, 2.5 inch strips, sewed them together. But I'm going to show you the technique of making the strips. So I've already cut a couple of these strips. And I have 2 fabrics. And I'm just going to lay one on, and I'm just going to do a row. You can lay this sideways if you want, just as long as you are covered. You can then lay another piece on and keep going right down on the line, just as long as the scrap tape is covered. So if you want cattywampus, you can do cattywampus. I know you love my cattywampuses. So we'll do,
plop it down.
all right, we'll do cattywampus. I wasn't going to, but we'll do cattywampus. So I'm going to take 2 pieces, right sides together, take them over to the machine, and Sheila's going to slide along with me, and it will work if I get the foot on. Sorry, my hand is in the way. I am going to make a 1/4 inch seam allowance. The machine is set up for a 2.0 stitch length. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to set and press. I'll go ahead and set this one. I'm going to just press that a little bit. So I can see, if Sheila can zoom in, there is a little bit of my scrap tape showing way down here. So I'm going to make sure that this piece is to the left of that, so when I make my 1/4 inch seam, it will be covered. Okay? So I'm just going to sew this one along here. Now I'm going to set that, but before I fold this piece over, I'm going to trim this. So I've pushed my scrap tape back, and I'm literally going to just take my rotary cutter right along that side and trim. I knew I had a little hiccup there. Now I'm going to take this back over, and I'm going to press. You good?
Yeah, we're getting a low battery.
Okay. Oops. I'm going to do one more. And again, I just have a little piece to cover. So basically, I'll just go that way. Again, I'm just going to push back, trim this piece, come back, press this out. Now what I'm going to do is take this piece, flip it over, and trim everything off. It's late, guys. here, trim here, and I'm going to trim here. So you can get as many of these strip sets that you want, but our bag I'm going to do cut it 9 or 8 by 7 inches to come up with this square. So I made another strip set. You just put the 2 strip sets together, and I did press my seam opened. I took, without touching this, I just pressed that open a little, then flipped it over on my mat and gave it a nice press. I'm going to get the lining ready. And what I have is the Ultra Soft Fusible from Baby Lock. And I have cut, I think it was a 19-inch strip by 7 1/4 maybe, or even a 7. Probably 7 inches since it's matching. But I'm going to fuse because this is fusible. So if you see the shiny part is going to be fused to the back side of our lining fabric. And I'm just going to press to set this. Might take a minute. And I'll just do this section so we can add it to that. But I love this product because it's so supple and it's soft. So it's not going to be real stiff in our little bag that we're going to make in that pouch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this down. I'll move that out of your way. But I know Sheila is going to, she told me she wants a different backing. She wanted this for the front of the bag and she wanted something different in the back. So I am going to go grab her back piece because that way you'll be able to really see that Sashiko stitch, that hand mock quilt stitch that we're going to do. So I'm going to go and grab that piece real quick and we'll save this one for later. And I'm ready. Okay, so I have fused our Ultra Soft Fusible to the lining, and we're going to take our section. This is the piece that Sheila wanted for her back of her bag, and I'm just going to put this on. And you'll notice that the back piece is slightly larger, and that's so if we have any shifting when we're doing our Sashiko stitch, we can then trim it off at the end. Okay, so you can do 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, it's up to you. I do have Superior monofilament thread, so it is a clear thread set up in the machine. I have chosen, if Sheila can zoom in on this quilt stitch, it has a line and then 3 lines, a line and then 3 lines. What that actually means is it's going to make 1 stitch, which will be the clear thread, and then because we've increased our tension to 7, and this is a manual adjustment, obviously other machines it may be in your settings. The manual adjustment for this is I'm going to go up to a 7, and our stitch length we're going to actually go to a 3.0. I have set the machine up for a center needle position for on the Baby Locks, that is a 3.5. Okay, I did my test, which I liked. So I've already done my test. I tell everybody test, test, test before you're going to do it on your final project. So I have done my test, And now we are just going to start. I'm going to use the presser foot as my guide. And I'm just going to go across. And because you can't see this clear thread, I want it underneath my foot. Okay. And this is a medium speed. And I can see that clear thread. So let me get that out of our way. And you'll see the machine comes forward and then it goes back 2 times. That's where that triple stitching comes in. And I'm just kind of guiding the fabric. Oh, that's going to be beautiful, Sheila. Now, the one thing you will like me all if you do not use your scissors, because what may happen is because this thread, the clear monofilament thread, is so fine and thin, it may shoot back up into your machine once you do that scissor cut. So my recommendation is to take the length and then cut out here. Okay, so that's what this looks like, that mock quilt stitch. So I'm going to continue that through this whole back piece, and I'm going to do the same thing onto the front with our back, with our lining for our front piece. This piece is much larger than I need, as you can see, so I will be trimming this down. But because we have so many seams, I usually like to have this piece much larger than the backing, and then I can trim down in case I have any shifting whatsoever, because we've got so many seams and they're at angles in this piece. So I'm going to continue doing that, and then we'll come back for another section.
Hey there, Carolyn here. Our audio went out, so I'm actually going to be filling in for Pam on this part. When you're thinking about evenly spacing your lines of quilting for your pouch, one of the things that you can consider using is a quilting bar. The purpose of that quilting bar is to maintain even lines of quilting across the top of your project. And you can see that you can place that bar right behind where your foot already rests, where that ankle is. It goes right through that section there. And then it's adjustable for the width of how far apart you want your bars to be. So you can pull that from the left to right so that you have the exact spacing that you want for those lines all the way down the top of your project. And then you sew using that bar as a visual guide of where to line up your previous quilting line, and then it'll all evenly space with your new quilting line. So you can see that that bar is continuing along the entire quilting line that Pam had sewn previously, so that we have a perfectly parallel line, new line of Sashiko quilting in this case. It's a really handy tool, fantastic for cross hatching or other straight line quilting, and it just makes it so easy to get a consistent result. We really just love the way that this faux Sashiko stitch looks. It gives it that hand quilted look without all of the hand quilting work, and it's such a delicate look for a project, perfect for something small like this, and really pretty versatile for different projects when you want this look for your quilting. So the design look that Pam wanted for this particular project was 2 lines really close together. So she's going to do a 1/4 inch apart for those, and then use that quilting bar for the farther space between lines. Really, this is one of those tools that you can put to use in so many different ways and achieve so many different looks, both traditional and modern, with the same technique and the same tool. And just like that, another set of twin lines is quilted. You would use the pressing bar lined up with that most recent line to then generate the next set and then the next set, and continue that process, alternating close together, then far apart for the rest of that side of the bag.
I have finished the Sashiko stitch on both the backing of Sheila's bag and the front. We decided to do just a simple diagonal on the front. Now what I'm getting ready to do is to work on the zipper. And in order to get the zipper the correct size, I need to sew across the zipper front and back in front of the zipper tab, because I'm going to complete the zipper ends a little bit different. I'm not going to leave that end tab on the zipper. So I'm just sewing across very slowly. This is not a quick thing. I do not want you to break your needle. On the baby lock, when you press the reverse button, it actually takes one stitch back. If I hold it in, it will continue to reverse stitch. So this is one of the features I really do like about the baby locks, because it is a true, if you push that button and you just want one reverse stitch, the baby lock does it. I have several other machines that, it might do 3, it may do 4, it may not even reverse at all. And that is not my favorite. So I have gone back and forth on this a few times, and I think that's actually good enough here. So I can show you what this is going to look like right there. And I'm going to cut this off now. And you're probably going to say, why are you doing that? Well, I'm going to show you. So our top of our bag is 8 inches, and I'm now going to cut this zipper down an inch shorter. So just to double check, my bag top, sorry for the mess, from here to here, just with my little cutting mat, is 8 inches. So I'm going to cut a 7-inch zipper. So I have my tab there, and I'm going to cut this off up here. So I'm going to pull that zipper back. And I'm just going to take my scissors and literally cut. Hope you like that zipper, Sheila.
Lime green.
Okay. Now I'm going to put this tab back just a little, and I'm also going to just sew across the top like I did here, and that is just to hold the zipper together. And again, you'll understand why in just a few minutes. I usually start this with my hand wheel and just holding my hand wheel, because I don't want to break the needle. I want to do this as gently as possible, and I'm going to use my fingers, so my fingers will be in the way, just to push the zipper teeth together. I should have my stiletto, but I'm going to do that. Perfect. Okay. Again, it's just to keep those zipper tabs together at the top. Now we're going to take 2 1 1/4 by 4 inch pieces. And I need to cut this one down. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . So I'm just going to get my strip tube and ruler. Just cut that down. And we decided to use the contrast for the zipper ends. So what I will do now is I want a center point, a center position on my tab. I'm going to fold both ends wrong sides together to get a center seam. And you can see I have a nice crease there. I'm now going to take the top and fold it into that crease and just finger press along there. And I'm going to take the bottom part and pull that up into the center. Now I'm just going to take my Aliso iron, having both sides meet along the center. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm actually going to take my best press or precision, whichever you prefer. I'm going to crease this so now it's folded. I've taken our piece, we made a center fold, we've taken the top part to meet on the center folded line and the bottom, and now I'm going to fold both of those together. And I'm going to press that and just wait a few seconds. I need a real good hold on this. And I had already done one. I have on the machine a narrow zipper foot, and I love this narrow zipper foot because I can get really close when I do piping, and I can ride right along the zipper when we sew it on. So we're going to put the tab on the end of our zipper. I've moved the needle position to where I need to so it doesn't break. And I'm just going to stop for a minute, readjust, because I'm going over the teeth right now. Now, I do want you to know that when you get to the top of the teeth, I pulled slightly on the back part of the tab. In other words, I was pulling slightly on this portion as I rode over the zipper teeth. Okay, so just be aware of that. But that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and do the tab on the other end. I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to start back further. Isn't this machine quiet? I just love this machine. It's a great little machine. Instead of lugging one of the big ones back in the classroom. Yay! So now we have our zipper tabs on both ends. I'm just going to trim them off to be the width of the zipper. Trimming that end off and trimming this end off. I have attached the narrow zipper foot onto the machine. We are going to put that needle position to the left so that I am sewing actually on the left edge. The right edge of the narrow zipper foot is going to ride right along the right edge of my fabric and my zipper, and it will come in and make a perfect 1/4 inch along that 1/4 inch line on the zipper. So let me get started. And I am going to back up. And again, I usually do this very, very slowly. We're not in any speed contest. I want to make sure everything is lined up. Now, about right here to the tab, I'm about an inch from the tab. I'm going to pull the zipper tab. My needle is in the down position, and I'm going to pull that tab up. I'm going to put my presser foot down, and I'm going to continue. Making sure that the zipper is lined up perfectly with the outer edge of the bag. And I should have let you know that we did center this in the middle of the bag. There's a 1/2 inch on one side, 1/2 inch on the other side, so it is centered in the bag into the... All right, what I have done, we've sewed that zipper on to the back part of the bag. I'm flipped this over and I pressed this really, really well. Don't melt your zipper. I pressed the backing, not the zipper. And now what I'm going to do is move my needle, still using that narrow zipper foot. I've got my needle in the left position, and this stitch, we're going to do it in this green so that you can actually see it, but it's going to do a top stitch along here, and that will hold the zipper down. And I am going to do a back stitch. Riding right along that top edge of the zipper. I'm going to stop. Needle is in the down position. Raise the presser foot. My tab should have been down and facing front. I'm going to grab that tab, and actually you can push it with your finger. Now I can grab that, close the zipper, put the presser foot back down, and continue to do my top stitching. And that will hold that bag, that zipper, down nice and firm. We are now going to attach this back part up to the front part. What I'm going to do, right sides together, and everything is actually going to line up perfectly. And we're just going to put the zipper down. I don't really even need my marking pens. Again, the right side of the zipper and the bag is going to be the right side of the zipper foot. And we're going to start. I am going to back stitch. And this is a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to stop because I want to pull that zipper to the back. That's out of the way. I didn't even need to raise the presser foot. Raise that. I'm going to come back over to the iron, folding this down, and again making sure that I'm not on the zipper coils, the teeth of the zipper, because those are plastic, and I'm pressing that zipper down nice and firm. We're going to come back, do that top stitch again like we did on the other side. A little stuck there. And right along the top of the bag. I'm going to stop, raise that presser foot. Push that back, pull, pull, pull. There we go. We have both of that attached. And we are going to put on the zigzag foot, and I'm just literally going to sew all the way around. What we have done now is taken the front and the back, we've got that zipper in, and I've pinched so that the front and the back, I know my side seams are going to start right here, and I do want to mark the bottom of the quilt because, excuse me, the bottom of the bag, because it's going to be a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm marking my 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and it's just so that I know where to pivot. So there's that one, and I've already marked the other one on the other side. Now what I'm going to do is just a straight stitch all the way around the bag, and then I'm going to come back and just do a zigzag, just so that those edges are clean. I really would have preferred to use an overcasting foot. This would have been perfect. But when I'm making little pouches like this, I like a 1/2 inch seam allowance because we really do use our bags a lot. I mean, I've used this probably 9 years now. So this is very similar to this bag. It's just a cut design for embroidery. Same concept for the bag, same way the zipper was put in, but I just prefer that 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around. Okay. This would make a 1/4, and we don't like that. It's just not going to be big enough. So we're going to have to do a 1/2 inch. So I've got my J foot set up. I do have my, going to go back and I'm going to do a center needle position, and I can move that position all the way over to the left, because I know with the J foot, the Baby Lock machine, this is going to be a 0.0 for the needle position. I am going to sew with the 2.5 stitch length. I'm going to start on the fabric, and then I'm going to reverse. This will have gripping ability with the feed dogs. If I start up here, I'm going to be trying to push all of this through. Let's not do that. Let's have the machine work for us. So I'm going to back up and reverse stitch, and it should work much, much easier. Or the other thing you could do, which I have had a lot of people do, they will go ahead and start from this way, move up here, come down, sew off here, and go that way. You can do that too. There's no problem. Whatever makes it easier for you to sew your bag. I'm actually going to reverse stitch, and I'm going to come forward, and I'm not even pushing them. Those feed dogs are working nicely. Now, I like to come down a little bit and go back up, only because I know I'm going to cut that corner, because we don't want that inside of our bag. And I'm going to come back down, and I have marked where I need to pivot, and I'm now going to sew. Well, I need another stitch down. Let's do that, Sheila. One more stitch. Perfect. I'm going to come forward again, and I'm going to back up again. Again, just because the corners just need that extra reinforcing, I think. It's personal preference. Do what you want. It's your pouch. I'm gonna just go ahead and trim those corners. Not sure why I'm having a hard time with that, so I'll just come over here and cut those with my rotary cutter. And I'm going to come back and do a zigzag. I'll start up here. Again, I'm starting on the fabric. I'm going to make this zigzag probably about a 6.0. I'm going to reverse so that zigzag is nice and big. It's over the side of my fabric. Right, I'm going to cut all these strings. Can't have Sheila have strings in her bag now. That would be horrible. Oh, and I did not tell you, the most important thing is when you do the sides, leave the zipper open. I did not tell you that. The last thing, you will be sending me nasty grams if you don't leave that zipper open. I didn't even think to tell you that because again, I've made so many of these pouches, different styles, and this pouch can be made in any size.
Pretty new corks.
Yes, and you can add, you know, you could piece. You don't need to use the scrap tape if you don't want to. I just think it's a great product. I think it's easy, easy, easy. And if I had my purple fang, I could get that corner out. Purple fang. You know, you can never find it when you need it, but I have a point turner. Okay. We'll get this tab section out. Work that out. And Sheila now has a really cute Sashiko bag. I like both sides of the bag.
Me too.
And pretty little zipper. Now the last thing that you actually can do, I had a little bit of a strip left over. We can fold that little strip in half. Cut off that. Meet this in the center. Probably want it a little bit longer. But you can actually make a tab like this so you can pull your zipper. So you can just pull a zipper tab. And again, mine is probably half the length that you need. So you probably need a 6-inch at least so that you can fold it and have it be this long. But basically it just gets pushed in to this little section right here. And then you can just sew like I did. So what I did on this one, I actually top stitched this whole thing and then I sewed right across up from the pull. And there you have it. That's our Sashiko bag.